Welcome to the Legal Code. As you can see, I'm no longer in my typical place of filming. I'm in beautiful Algarve, Portugal. I managed to make it out of the country, and I must tell you, it was no easy feat. So I'm here to provide you with some travel tips if you plan on traveling internationally so that you can have a safe flight and alleviate any anxiety about travel because we haven't been able to do it in the last 2 years. Number one, you remember your parents' advice of getting to the airport at least 3 hours early? Take that advice to a whole nother level, especially during the pandemic. The lines are out of control. I must say, we arrived at the airport 3 hours early and there were hundreds of people in front of us. So imagine the average commercial flight that's international holds 400 to 500 people. Imagine every other international flight with that amount of people as well in front of you. There were hundreds and hundreds of people, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna make the flight, and we were already there 3 hours ahead of time. Also, the kiosks are not allowing you to check in internationally, and we could not check in 24 hours advance online for some reason. It might be due to the pandemic and them wanting to verify that you have the rapid or the PCR test. So that also led to the bottleneck at the counter. So hundreds of people in front of us, panic ensues. Everyone's wondering if they're gonna make their flight on time. A few people who work for the airlines were pulling passengers off for certain flights that plan on taking off within the next 2 hours because time was ticking and they knew these people were going to miss their flight. So thankfully, some employees of the airline were checking people in expeditiously and getting them to security. But again, once you get to security, another line ensues with hundreds of people, so more panic. And of course you have the obnoxious few that try to cut in front of you because there's so much chaos and it's really helter-skelter and it's not really organized. It's really a mess. Again, the pandemic, a lot of people are not working. A lot of these airlines have less staff, so that led to the bottleneck. So my advice to you, arrive to the airport at least 4.5 hours early. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you'll thank me in the long run because you will be anxious about not making your flight. Number two, all flights are requiring COVID testing, even if you are vaccinated. So you must show, what I did to be sure, I made sure I got the PCR as well as the rapid test, just to be on the safe side. I had a screenshot of it, and you can also have a printout. Either one is acceptable. But even if you're vaccinated, they're still requiring proof of PCR test or a rapid test that must be done maximum 72 hours before your flight. So just make sure you time it appropriately. My flight took off Sunday evening, so I received my testing Friday evening around 7 p.m. and I took off Sunday evening around 7 p.m. So they were about 48 hours. I did receive the results. You're going to want to make an appointment to get testing because there's a lot of testing going on and a lot of places are not taking walk-ins. So my advice to you is schedule an appointment. You know you're taking off next week, Thursday, for example. Make sure you schedule your appointment around Tuesday to get tested. So that's one thing. I didn't even know I had to make an appointment. I just knew I had to get testing. I thought it would be easy to just walk into a pharmacy or a doctor's office and get testing, but a lot of places are requiring appointments. So take that very important because you will need it also once you arrive in the country where you're traveling to. You'll have to show customs as well as the hotel that you're checking into. As of now, no one has asked for proof of vaccination. They've all asked for proof of COVID testing, the PCR being the more verifiable and valid test than the rapid test. But again, get both just to be on the safe side. I got the rapid just in case I didn't get the results for the PCR test. Oh, another thing, if you're booking your flight, you now have to pay for check-on luggage, which is a really sneaky thing that these airlines are doing. Previously, obviously, you would receive, you'll be able to check one luggage, have one personal item and a carry-on. But now they're charging you even for the checked luggage that you're flying internationally with. So keep that in mind when you're budgeting for your flight. You may need to show proof of the vaccination to participate in certain activities, like if you're going on a cruise or booking something that requires you to be in close proximity to people, you may need to show proof of vaccination for that. As of date, I have been in Portugal for a week. No one has asked me for proof of vaccination. My friend who traveled from Holland to Portugal, she drove through Europe. And she stopped in Belgium, she stopped in France, and she stopped in Spain. And in none of those locations had she had to show proof of vaccination. She said no one has even asked her for vaccination. So that's interesting. But again, everyone's experience is different. I think a lot of employees are making up their rules as they go along. A lot of employees for the airlines, they're requiring or asking one thing from one passenger and asking something totally different from another. So there's a lot of misinformation going out there. So I wanted to relay my experience to you so that you can be equipped to at least, number one, arrive at the airport super early to alleviate any anxiety, because everyone is traveling, everyone's anxious to get back to their lives, to leave America, to leave wherever their home country is and to see something beautiful. So a lot of people are traveling, so keep that in mind and prepare. Number two, you're going to want to have a screenshot of your COVID test, easily accessible. Also, one more thing, every country is requiring you to fill out a passenger locator. Portugal require it, and other countries are also requiring it to locate you in case you're exposed to COVID or if unfortunately you happen to get COVID, that they can locate you. So you also want to fill that out prior to boarding. It's simple information, your name, your passport number, your address, where you're staying, and your date of birth. And you provide that, so in the event that you are exposed to anyone who tests positive for COVID, they can inform you. This is all digitalized, so the QR code would show up in your email. It's emailed to you, so you have that for your record. And that's pretty much it. I wish all of you safe travels. I hope you enjoy yourself. It's been a long time coming. I'm definitely enjoying Algarve. I'll share some photos with you at the closure of this video. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.